This is an astrotometry log, December 26th at 11:24 p.m. Pacific time. Just wanted to go over a few things. I am going to start moving into a mode where I will be more unresponsive to comments, and I'm kind of shifting the utilization of the channel more of a record, more of a sort of log. I'm going to be presenting some videos that I hope will explain better what I am understanding about the nature of the astrotome, but for this time I'm going to use this as sort of just a record and an amusing place for my own purposes. I've kind of lost the confidence that this medium will be embraced by other solar scientists and other people who are serious about these types of studies in the scientific realm. And so I'm going to kind of give up on that hope for now. And I wanted to mention something about a discovery that I made last night, or realization, should I say. It wasn't a discovery. The particular sun-grazing comets that I think are supersymmetric, hypersymmetric with the active regions and the coronal mass ejections, those particular comets tend to come from, if you're looking at the SOC3, they tend to come from the same area. They always tend to come in from about 5 o'clock, maybe 4:30, if you're looking at it as a clock face, and they come into the sun from that region. And one thing I realized that was strange about this, as I was going over this phenomenon in my head last night, is that the direction that they come in from is always the same. Now, since we orbit the sun, and since they come in at different times, different months, of the year, that angle should change as the Earth's position in its orbit around the sun changes, and it doesn't. They always come in from just about like 4:30, maybe 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, somewhere around in there, and that angle doesn't change. And since the trajectory is obviously not outside the solar system, you can't pick the comet back up after it passes the sun. So it's obviously it gets brighter as it gets closer to the sun, significantly brighter. It shows signs of burning up and breaking up in a lot of cases, and then it's lost. Then it disappears. And so these are definitely comets that are either burning up or actually impacting the sun. I mean, the obvious thing is that it's impacting. Now, this has been patently rejected by the canonical solar science community because of what we know about the nature of the active regions and the possibility that something at such a great distance could affect the sun. It just doesn't play into the third-dimensional mindset. It's counterintuitive to what the three-dimensional mentality is, that this object at a distance, at such a great distance, could affect the sun. And of course, as the sun is turning, as the sun appears to turn relative to the Earth, this active region and these spots track on the turn of the sun. And so not only would this object have to have some kind of very strange mechanism, but a mechanism that was somehow entangled with the rotation of the sun. And so this seems like a very, very unlikely thing, that the coronal mass ejection could be related to these objects that have actually been caught hitting the same places that erupt. And so the thing is that astrotometry points out that this is because of the hypersymmetry of the universe, and that there's a relationship between the way things move that involve the sun as a sort of time manifold, and everything in outside of the sun's sphere is translated through it. And because of that translation, and because of the influence that incoming object has as its feedback through the common carrier wave that carries it across the time manifold, travels through our translation field, travels through the space that the Earth is translated through the field. That's the disturbance that we see, and that's the theory in astrotometry, that how that object creates the mark on the sun. Now, the really, really interesting thing about this is that it always comes in from the same direction. And so this says something about the Earth's, the relationship between these objects and the Earth and the sun. And so that relationship, it's not clear. That relationship could be indicating something about the nature of the Earth's orbit around the sun, since these objects always tend to come in from the same direction, that these objects are somehow synced with the Earth's orbit. And one of the possibilities that the reason that I'm making this log, one of the possibilities that I was exploring last night was that these objects leave that shadow when other objects don't, because these objects may originally have been from the Earth. In other words, these objects might have the same orbit as the Earth because they originally left the Earth. And so relative to the sun, it could be that their node patterns are already resonating with the same. Well, I don't have words for this stuff yet. This is new ground for astrotometry. I'm going to have to analyze this very carefully before I can say anything definite on it. I mean, the issue with the hypertime shadow from these particular types of sun-grazing comets, I'm fairly sure about. I don't think there's any doubt about that, at least in my mind. And it's possible that I'm wrong. It's possible that I'm missing something in my analysis. But astrotometry already has a jump on the other theories for explaining, in my worldview, scores and scores of things that are neglected by modern science. In other words, this is the new stuff, and the old stuff I haven't even gotten to, about how it, how it resolves the legacy issues about the geocentric and heliocentric argument, for example. There's a lot of legacy issues there that most people aren't even aware of, because science just tends to sweep these issues under the carpet and focus on what it is able to explain, rather than bringing the more sort of painful stuff about what we don't know, that can't be explained with science, into the realm of question. And so but astrotometry resolves a lot of these legacy issues that I will be getting into at some point. But for now, I'm going to be working on the new stuff as I come up with it. I'm just going to kind of try to flow with it, and that's a very difficult thing for anyone that's trying to follow it. And I apologize for that, but at the same time, it's how it has to be right now. Thanks for listening.